October the 24th, 1924, an event would take place that would shake Appalachia to its core. 4 folks dead, 5 children forced to watch the ghastly events unfolding before their eyes. Who would do such a thing, take 4 lives in front of children? A mountain doctor, the father to the children, would be to blame. The folks he put an end to was none other than his ex-wife and her parents, along with her little sister. This tragedy is the Johnson-Castens massacre. Before we get into this tragic event, we'll learn just who this man was and his story. Also learning the names of the dead and just what took place and why this doctor would ever end these folks to begin with.
Appalachia, the mountains are like no other. From its rigid terrain, beautiful wildlife, to the people that live their lives here, to the strange, unexplained stories that folks share. Join me while I share this amazing place, one story at a time.
Dr. Curtis Johnson was born May the 12th, 1884, in Langston, Alabama. Parents, Private John Newton Johnson and Sarah Evergreen Parker Johnson. He grew up a normal child on a farm with siblings, pets, and all the normal things. In 1903, like his father, he enlisted in the Army, serving in the Reserve Hospital Corps. He would go on to attend the University of Tennessee and became a doctor in 1906. He married Mary Amelia Frances Murray in Washington, D.C. They moved back to Alabama to Milton Village. They had a single daughter, Layla, in 1909. Sadly, 1914, Frances would pass at only 28. She was laid to rest in the Woolsey Cemetery near Curtis's birthplace. In 1915, he would marry Mary Alice Caston. They moved to Savannah, starting a practice office. They having 2 children together, Mary Caston in 1916 and Absalom Ogletree in 1918. Tragically, 1 week after Absalom was born, Alice would pass from pneumonia. She was laid to rest in the Smith Cemetery. Curtis was so heartbroken. Now he had a newborn and 2 other children under the age of 10 to raise all alone. He did this for 4 years. In 1919, Alice's younger sister, Ida Elizabeth Caston, 14, would marry Curtis and raise the 3 children, even giving birth to 2 of her own, Jessie Ina in 1920 and Mary Alice in 1921. Trouble was brewing by 1924. She left Curtis and took Jessie and Mary Alice and went to her parents' home to live. Now, folks, the events that take place after this take place on October the 24th, 1924, and are disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. October the 24th began as any old day. The night before, Curtis come up with a plan to win Ida's heart back. In the morning, he would set out and take to pleading for her to come back. He would change his ways. So he set out for Meltonville Village. He went to the home of A.O. Caston, where Ina lived. Her father was in the potato patch with a hired hand working. They spoke for a moment, and Curtis proceeded to the house. Ida came outside near the road. He pleaded and begged for her to come back. She had one time before, and she knew it was all lies. He would never change, and the divorce was final. This angered Curtis. Something snapped. He turned to walk away, reached into his pocket, and retrieved a .32 revolver. He turned and shot her dead right there on the roadside. Ina's mother, Mrs. Caston, heard the commotion and come to the porch, only to see Curtis standing over Ina's lifeless body. She tried to run for her life, but Curtis fired a round into her back, leaving her on the porch. Jessie Caston, Ina's little sister, went for a firearm, aimed it at Curtis, and it snapped. It wasn't loaded. So she ran into the house. Curtis was right behind her, fast as he could be. He fired into her back as she went up the stairs. She kept going into her room, where she fell between the beds. Curtis would fire one more shot, ending her. Mr. Caston, being in the field, heard all the shots and ran for the house to see just what was going on. He saw Ina dead, and Mrs. Caston, in her near-death state, begged him not to go inside. She warned him that Curtis was inside, but Mr. Caston was partially deaf and did not hear her. He went to where Jessie lay between the beds. Curtis was standing over her body. Mr. Caston shouted, "Curtis, buddy, what does this mean?" Then grabbed his firearm and shot 3 times. Curtis also fired 3 times. Curtis's round met its mark, striking Caston in his left lung. Curtis was never hit. Curtis then heard the youngest girl, 14 years old, take out across the woods. He took out after her, shooting at her, but he missed and he couldn't catch her. He gave up. Curtis then headed to the field where the hand was still working. He told him to take the children to his brother, a senator, and there was a new suit he was to be buried in the front of his car. He then walked to his lifeless Ina, kissed her lips, then turned the firearm to himself, ending this tragic event. When help arrived, Mrs. Caston clung to life, as well as Mr. Caston. Mr. Caston would pass October the 25th from his wounds sustained during the massacre. Mrs. Caston indeed survived this ordeal. The family was a true, God-fearing, devout family. The whole community would mourn the passing and join in celebrating their lives at the burial in the Smith Cemetery. According to folks who knew Dr. Curtis, they told he was a decent man with a prosperous practice and no money troubles, and that other than the divorce, he had no reason to do these things. Today, he is buried in the Woolsey Cemetery next to Frances Murray, his first wife, while the Caston family lie in the lonely, forgotten Smith Cemetery, hopefully to rest in everlasting peace. Folks, This massacre was such a tragedy. Jesse and Ina were so young, with so much more life to live and children to raise. Mr. Caston died saving his family, and poor Mrs. Caston had to live in the wake of this horrible event for the rest of her days. Folks, I want to thank you for sitting and listening to the story of the Johnson-Caston massacre. Well, I appreciate you listening. I love you to pieces, and I'll see you next time.